Well, despite what happened to the Denver Broncos yesterday, they're still the number one seed currently in the AFC. Yes, the Jacksonville Jaguars absolutely did what they needed to do. Yes, Trevor Lawrence and company, you know, look legitimate. They look legit out here. Um, it's crazy how things have flipped on their head very, very quickly. Things have flipped very, very quickly in the NFL. You know, um, I mean, the Texans have rebounded, and now they are so close to clinching a playoff spot. The Colts with Philip Rivers of all guys. Philip Rivers, yes, because there were injuries everywhere, everywhere, every which way. Philip Rivers is now the Colts' starting quarterback, and despite the fact that he's been doing his best, the Colts have imploded from where they were. They were 7-1, you know, 2 months ago, but now they are basically out of the playoff picture. Basically, if Houston wins this upcoming week, that's it. The Pittsburgh Steelers, impressive performances after impressive performances, on both sides of the ball. It kind of depends though. But yeah, this Pittsburgh team, finally can say, hey, we did the thing. Yeah, Mike Tomlin, yet again has another winning season, but like at the same time, with Baltimore imploding again with another blown lead and Lamar Jackson getting hurt again, with Derrick Henry not being used and John Harbaugh just being John Harbaugh, it's kind of sad that John Harbaugh has regressed as a coach at this point. It really is kind of sad. But, it is what it is. But, like, Drake May and those Patriots, still because of, tiebreakers and everything like that, they're still the 2 seed. The Bills, right now, are behind the Patriots, but there's still time. There's still time for Superman Josh Allen to do his thing. And then, the Justin Herbert and the Chargers, Forget about my Cowboys, they already were out of the playoff discussion, before the game against the Chargers. But, Justin Herbert deciding to actually play like how people expected to, which is what he's been playing like all season, it just is what it is. On the other side, the NFC is a gauntlet. The NFC South could still be decided on the final week of the regular season. Yes, the Carolina Panthers are in position to be in position. Yes, they are in position. With a win next week, they could take the NFC South. And honestly, if Tampa Bay hadn't regressed the way that they have, yes, Godwin and Evans are back, and Baker Mayfield, plays how he wants to play, but like it's just the Bucks are inconsistent, and I don't know what to say at this point. Like the 49ers clinched the playoff spot, the Rams have already clinched the playoff spot, but the battle for the NFC West is going to come down to the final week, like Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams, with basically Stafford being the MVP of the NFL at the end of the day, being one thing. I don't even know where to go from here with the NFC West. Like it's crazy. It could come down to the final game of the regular season, which it could be. The final game of the regular season could be Seattle, San Francisco. It really could be. And the 49ers, CMC and the defense and, the offense, not that this San Francisco team has been, particularly healthy or anything like that, but, they are resilient and they have won games. That's all you can do. On the flip side, we could see the Packers and the Bears rematch for a third time. After the miracle that Caleb Williams came up with, Jordan Love's hurt. There's more QB injuries and stuff like that. Like Christmas is gonna suck. Christmas is going to suck major. I'm telling you, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad on Christmas. But I'm not watching those Christmas games. Those 3 games do not matter in the long scheme because like JJ McCarthy got hurt and Jordan Love's been inconsistently hurt, you know, and the Packers continue to befuddle me at the worst possible times. But at least they're not the Detroit Lions, who continue to, try and bite kneecaps. But when they get bit back, they just implode. And like the Lions could end up missing the playoffs entirely if things go Green Bay's way this week with a game against the Baltimore Ravens. If Green Bay beats Baltimore, that is it. Green Bay will be in, Lions will be out, and basically we'll only have to see, the division races basically be settled. Basically, everything is pretty much settled in the NFL. It's just, there's a couple things left really to kind of take care of. The AFC is basically set. It's basically set at this point. Like, I'm not even joking with you. Like, the Broncos and the Patriots may be the number one seed, with Jacksonville slowly getting behind them, to kind of take reign of that number one seed. The NFC is a little bit wilder, Again, if the Packers don't blow it, they'll be the 7th seed. The Eagles, still playing pretty good on offense and defense with Jalen Hurts and company. Yeah, I think they'll be the 3 seed, but it's the 1 seed that's going to be interesting because a lot of teams, can have that stake for it. The Bears may have a stake for it, and the NFC West is a chokehold battle. But, we have 2 weeks left, and this is basically my final video of the year. I'm gonna basically, shut it down for about a week or so. Aside from maybe like a short or 2 here and there. Anybody else has anything, about, the NFL playoff picture that they want to say, they can sound off the comment section. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more, because we're still here, we're rocking, we're rolling, and, the NFL playoffs are right around the corner. It's just a matter of time, baby. It's just a matter of time.